And we are live. Hello.
Live! It's so
Pod Feet.
exciting. Hi, Steve. How are you?
Good. Happy 20th anniversary.
Oh, yes. Did you notice
It's still
it
up there.
I'm going to keep that up all year, Steve.
That
If it'll
thing just
stay.
is not losing helium.
I don't think those are helium.
Oh,
are they?
those weren't helium. It was just the balloon they were attached to. That's right.
That's right. That's right. I like it. All right, I'm going to do roll call. We have because it's a short list. We've got Kevin and Bruce and Rustic Rebel and John and Sandy and Steve. Where is everybody tonight?
Yeah,
Oh,
let's see if
quiet.
Lynn is here.
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
see
Lynn
Lynn.
sometimes lurks.
I don't see
She
Lynn in
might-
the sidebar.
She might be in Flagstaff.
That's a different chat room.
Oh, ignore the fact that it says chit chat across the pond. There is no chit chat to chat about.
I'm sorry. Where does it say that?
There's a
Oh,
chapter,
I see. I gotcha.
a mark there. I just deleted it. Look
Ooh,
at
that's
Jill from the
nice.
North Woods. Isn't that cool?
That's cool. Yeah. That's
Jill, tell
nice, Jill.
them how that got created. Payon is in the sidebar. That is Michael Babcock, I think. Or wait, or is it Marty Sobo? I always get it mixed up. I think it's Michael. Or is it Marty? Can't remember.
I'll find out.
But he may not be. I see people in the sidebar who have been here like ever. Like Michael DeWeese is there. Nuclear John, who hasn't been here in forever. Peter the Bruce. Pie Man. Is Pie Man here today?
I don't see him. Payon is
Sapphire
Michael
Spider, Stephen
Babcock.
Getz, Verso, Whale Solomon. I don't even know who that is. Verso? All right. Okay, so she asked ChatGPT to make Jill from the Northwoods icon. Then saw someone on Amazon makes fake neon signs if you have a logo. So I asked ChatGPT to redo the logo in neon.
Oh, that turned
Wow.
out well.
That is really... Oh, wait, you didn't buy it? Not yet. Okay.
I think
is
you're there,
really
Kevin.
pretty.
I see ya.
All right, I think I'm going to go ahead and start. What do you think, Steve?
Sounds good.
How's my video? I haven't looked at that. It looked lousy today in Zoom. It looks super dark. I have less lighting on me today than I did this morning. There's the Rustic Rebel. All right, here we go. Oh, that's the logo it created. So it can apparently spell now. For a long time, it couldn't spell. All right, here we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, August 17th, 2025, and this is show number 1058. All right. Okay.
You nailed that intro.
I did, and my voice came back, mostly. I don't know why. All right, we're just going to kick right into it. And boom, boom. Here we go. Let's see. Hey, Steve. Text Lindsay and Nolan and tell him that I'm about to talk about Forbes getting his Apple Watch if he's around and wanted to listen.
Okay.
All right. Oh, Frank was late. 30 lashes. Oh, yeah, drinks are definitely on him. Am I in Do Not Disturb? Yes, I am. Okay, here we go. Might only be fun to listen to for the first couple of seconds for him, but oh well. Our grandson Forbes is a delightful child, but he's been doing this annoying thing they call growing up. He just had a birthday and his parents agreed that we could buy him his first Apple Watch. They felt he was mature enough to handle the responsibility, and they liked the idea of being able to contact him and vice versa. The story I'm about to tell is how much harder it was to execute this seemingly simple maneuver than I ever dreamed. To tell the story, I need to give some background. We have an Apple One family sharing plan for me and Steve, Lindsay and her husband Nolan, along with our son Kyle and his wife Nikki. We use a lot of data, and by we, I mean Lindsay and I. We've had to bump up from 2 terabytes to the next step, which unfortunately is an additional 6 terabytes, giving us a total of 8 terabytes. That took the Apple One account from $38 a month to $68 a month. Now, I know that's crazy high, but it's all of our photos, our documents and desktop are all being backed up in iCloud. And actually, I can't say that. It's not really backed up. My voice started to go again. From $38 a month to I know that's crazy high, but it's all of our photos for 6 people. All of our documents and desktop are in iCloud. We've got Apple TV Plus, where we all watch a lot of content. By the way, go watch Stick. It's amazing. We do Fitness Plus, and Lindsay and I use that to exercise. Apple Music, which everybody but me uses. Nobody uses Arcade very much, and we could probably do without Apple News. But overall, we get a lot of value out of the service. Now let's talk complications. Young Master Forbes has an iPhone of his own, which functions basically as an iPod Touch since it has no cell plan. His iPhone has been logged into Lindsay's iCloud account ever since he got it. A year or so ago, Lindsay asked if maybe she should get him his own Apple account instead of being logged into hers. Unfortunately, the rules of family sharing state that you get the organizer plus 5 additional members, and we already had a total of 6 people on our plan. There was no room for Forbes to get access to any services, so we abandoned that whole path. Then we started working on whether it would be practical to get an Apple Watch for Forbes and how all these pieces would fit together. We assumed that since it would be under a parent/guardian, as far as Apple was concerned, it wouldn't count as an additional human. We were wrong, so we were right back to where we started. It looked like it was time to kick Lindsay and Nolan out of the nest to start their own family sharing plan with Apple. But here's the rub. Just Lindsay and Nolan combined would use a smidge more than the 2 terabytes of a family plan, which means they'd have to go up to $68 a month since Apple only lets you go from 2 terabytes to 8 terabytes. That didn't sound like a great solution to anyone. We noodled this for quite a while until Nolan came up with a solution. His mom has an Apple One plan that he could join and not go over the 2 terabyte limit, so he could leave our family and make room for Forbes. This also meant that Lindsay would be the parent guardian managing Forbes and his Apple Watch shenanigans. There'd be a lot of communication between me and the person managing Forbes, so it really made more sense that it would be Lindsay. With his first hurdle out of the way, it was time to price out the Apple Watch. Still trying to figure out if this is going to be practical. We also needed to figure out a cellular plan to see if that was reasonable. I originally planned on handing down an older Apple Watch of mine, but then I realized that's not going to work because none of my hand-me-downs were cellular capable. We'd have to buy him a brand new watch because I was not giving up my Series 10 for a little kid, no matter how responsible and awesome he is. I priced the Apple Watch SE 2nd generation, which is smaller than the regular models, so it's perfect for Forbes. It was $250 directly from Apple, but the night we decided to buy, it was only $170 from Best Buy. It's like $210 at the time of this writing. The other advantage for us to buy through Best Buy is that we pay for their Total Tech package. Total Tech is an extended warranty plan, and among other benefits, it gives you free Apple Care on any products you buy from them. We buy a lot from Best Buy, and it's paid off on a few of the products we've bought there, including a very expensive ice maker that failed and was replaced for free. Since the $170 deal was expiring in a few hours, I purchased the Apple Watch figuring I could return it shortly after it got there if the rest of the pieces didn't fall into place, but I wanted that $170 deal. With the purchase plan taken care of, I needed to figure out how much the monthly service was going to cost through AT&T, which is our carrier. You would think the cost of a cellular plan for an Apple Watch would be, printed somewhere on the AT&T website, wouldn't you? No, it simply is not. I even tried adding an imaginary watch to my plan, but without the IMEI number, you can't even pretend to buy a plan to see the price. I ended up having to make a phone call. Can you imagine? This really proves how much I love Forbes. When Argon from AT&T answered my call, we had a quick chat, and he proudly told me the cost would be $11 a month. That sounded pretty reasonable. But, I didn't just fall off the turnip truck. I asked him how much would be added in tax. After a bit of searching around and looking at a few things, Argon said, around $5 or $6 a month. Excuse me? I pointed out that would be a 50% tax rate. He didn't think it was 50%, and I had explained that halfway between 5 and 6 is 5.5. That's exactly 50% of $11 per month. He tried to excuse this by saying, well, that's what you're already paying on your cell phone plans. Well, sweetie, that $6 is on a $60 a month cell phone plan, so that's 10%. He says, oh, okay, then it's probably 10%. All right, fine, let's go with that. That makes sense because that is the tax rate right here. Moving on, I asked him what other additional fees we'd have to pay. Sweet and innocent Argon said, oh, there won't be any fees. Right. I reworded the question this time and I said, how about regulatory fees? And he said, no regulatory fees. I still wasn't buying it. I respectfully said I'd love to see something in writing showing me that my total cost would be $11 per month plus that 10% tax. Took him quite some time, but he managed to get a document printed to PDF that had all of the pricing for me. Guess what it said? No, really, you guess. You're right. An additional $4 in regulatory fees was applied. So along with the 10% tax rate, that brings the plan to $16 a month. I was annoyed that it was so hard to figure this out, but Argon and I parted as friends. Luckily, Forbes' birthday coincided with our family trip to Michigan, which gave Lindsay and me ample time to actually execute the plan of setting up his Apple Watch with cellular and getting it managed by her in our Apple One family plan. Forbes already had an email address, so Lindsay created an Apple account for him using that address. We spent some time experimenting with xkpasswd.net, as one does, to pick passwords that you can remember and easily type on an iPhone or Apple Watch. Lindsay recorded it in 1Password, as one does. From family sharing in iCloud, we were able to add one person to our family, since we'd kicked poor Nolan out of the nest, and one of the options was to create a child account. All right, we're getting somewhere. Lindsay logged out of iCloud on his phone and logged into his shiny new Apple account. Then we paired the watch to his phone. We hadn't gotten cellular working yet, but we figured it'd be fun to give it to him right away and get the rest of that working the next day. He was delighted, showing, about as much emotion as a 9-year-old boy is capable of, and he started setting up things on his watch. His brain is a sponge, so he learned quickly, and he has tiny little fingers, so selecting items on the small screen and even typing on it was no problem to him at all. But we had 2 problems to solve. One problem was that Forbes' phone was kind of mixed up. Remember, Lindsay logged out of her account and logged into Forbes? Well, for some reason, that left all of the games he'd bought under her account, which was good, but all of her photos were still there, her contacts, and even her image was on his identity. That's when we realized we needed to erase all contents and settings on the phone, not just log out of her account. Steve, I just noticed something, a typo. What's the easiest way for you to Command F? The paragraph that starts with, but we had 2 problems to solve.
Yeah.
The third sentence, the sentence that starts with that left all of the games he'd bought.
Yeah.
It says her photos were still there, contents, and her image. That should say contacts.
Her photos were still there, contacts. Okay.
Right. And one other thing I noticed.
Go ahead.
The cellular plan for Apple Watch title, that should be a paragraph higher. You see that?
Oh, above with the purchase plan taken care of?
Yeah.
Okay. And also I noticed xkpasswd.net is not secure. At least the version that was put in with the hot link is not secure.
Okay. So, can you see HTTPS on it? Can you add that?
I haven't gone into edit. But when I tried to use it, Safari's telling me that. So I can go in and, I guess, re-edit.
Well, that's weird. It says it's set as a secure link.
Really? Okay.
Why does this remind me of something? Somebody who knows the answer to that? Somebody listening should know the answer to that. xkpasswd.net. I'm not getting that error in Edge. Something about my link. It's definitely secure.
It's a secure website, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it does it have the www in front as well as the HTTPS?
Does it? What do you mean? Does it need it?
Yeah. Does that make a difference?
No.
Just the
Yeah,
HTTPS.
that's weird. I'm getting that. You know, it might need the www. Can you change it in the...
Okay, so I got 3 things. Move cellular plan up, fix XK past WD, and contents to contacts. All right. This will take me all day.
Oh, come... Okay, can I fix it?
I'm joking.
Okay, it'll shut them up. Where was I? Not just log out of her account. There. Okay. You got Mint Mobile, huh? Mint Mobile works. That's good to know. All right. Then we had to figure out how to enable cellular. The main point of this part of the story is that, to my knowledge, Apple has not published an end-to-end support article on how to set up a cellular Apple Watch as a standalone device for a child. Over the course of hours, we were able to piece together how it works, but it's definitely not all in one place. At one point, I had to phone a friend using that lifeline to contact Melissa Davis, also known as the Mac Mommy. She has tons of experience working with kids' devices, so she was a big help. Before I figured out the right way to do it, I followed online instructions, I think from AT&T, that said we could go to enable cellular right from the watch. We found the option on the watch to activate cellular, but it simply wouldn't go. We erased the watch thinking maybe something we'd done earlier had messed it up, but we got an error saying, your AT&T account is not eligible to enable cellular on your Apple Watch. Cool. That's great. Thanks. Well, a whole lot of the Googles later, we learned that a child's Apple Watch has to be paired to the parent's phone, not their own. Even though Lindsay already had an Apple Watch paired to her phone, she was able to add a second watch that was connected to Forbes. You've probably seen this before. I'd forgotten about it. When you add a watch, it says, is this for you or for someone else? Well, that's where you add a child device. This process of Lindsay adding the paired Apple Watch did make him an official member of our Apple One account with all of the glories to be found there. From Lindsay's iPhone, it asked to set up cellular on Forbes' watch. Now we're on to something. Surprisingly, it showed my AT&T account to her, but I guess that makes sense since I'm the primary member of our shared group of iPhones on AT&T for the family. Somewhere in here, I remember authorizing the cost for cellular, but to be honest, when that step happened, that's now a mystery to me. It was very late at night. I was exhausted from fighting this, and because the support on this process was garbage, I hit the wall when trying to set up cellular when it said, number sync soft SIM flow completed, followed by absolute gibberish. Lindsay and I said, I put a screenshot in the show notes of what we saw. It was just complete garbage on screen, and I lost my mind. Steve suggested I have a nice little timeout and go to bed, but we were so close, I refused. Plus, we had erased Forbes' watch, and I wanted him to be able to play with it again the next day. We hit the gibberish notification about number sync soft SIM flow a second time, but no joy. On the third try, I can't remember which button we pushed, but it finally allowed us to enable cellular on his watch. We were curious what would happen to his phone now that his watch was paired to Lindsay's phone. Turns out that since his watch and his iPhone are both logged into the same Apple account now, the data all syncs between the two, so it seems like that works okay. No steps in this process revealed his phone number, but we eventually found it on Lindsay's phone in the watch app. I decided to log into my AT&T account to verify that the cellular plan had been enabled properly, and sure enough, there was a new device called... There's another typo. It says iPhone SE Series 2. It should say Apple Watch SE Series 2. You see that, Steve?
Where's this?
Where I was reading. Let's see. The paragraph started. That's okay. You were working hard on all those other action items?
Confirming my fixes, but...
Okay. I decided to log into my AT&T account. It's the paragraph before iCloud storage.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It says iPhone SE Series 2. It should say Apple Watch SE Series 2.
Got it.
I decided to... Thank you. I decided to log into my AT&T account to verify that cellular... I decided to log into my AT&T account to verify that the cellular plan had been enabled properly, and sure enough, there was a new device called Apple Watch SE Series 2. That was great. But it said my name instead of Forbes's. Makes sense. No problem. I'll just use the little edit button there to change the name. No, you can't do that unless you verify you're you. I was logged in with two-factor authentication, but no, it wanted to verify me. It said it was going to send a 6-digit code to my email address. No problem at all. I got the code, copied and pasted it in, and it failed. I tried again, and it failed again. Finally, I had to use chat. Thank goodness it wasn't a phone call, and have an AT&T rep change the name on the device for me. What an expensive thing to pay for someone to do for me. Good grief. Well, remember how I said Lindsay pairing the child's Apple Watch added Forbes to our glorious Apple One account? Well, it wasn't actually that easy. On Forbes' iPhone, I opened iCloud and looked at his available storage, and it said 5 gigabytes. Well, that's annoying. Yet another thing I had to figure out. I was shocked to find an actual Apple support article that explained what was going on. Imagine you're joining an Apple One family sharing plan, and you are personally already paying for 2 gigabytes of storage, but you want all of the other glories of the Apple One, and this family plan doesn't have that much storage. Turns out you can keep your own storage plan, but still be part of the family. That might be important information to stick in the back of my little pea brain, as Dorothy would say, because when Lindsay and Forbes eventually get kicked out of the nest, maybe she could buy a 2 terabyte plan, and joining with Nolan would not require an extra 6 terabytes. We'll have to noodle that math when the time comes. The support article went on to explain how Forbes could... The support article went on to explain how Forbes could abandon his massive 5 gigabyte plan and join our 8 terabyte plan. I made the change, and just that easy, Forbes was finally a full-fledged member of our family sharing plan. By the way, I've been kind of mixing up family sharing and family one. I realize that, but I'm too lazy to go look it all up and get the right terminology there, but you know what I mean. The next day, we still had a few loose ends to clean up, believe it or not. How do you set up voicemail on an Apple Watch child plan? According to AT&T, you can only set up your voicemail password from your paired device. Once AT&T number sync is enabled, unanswered calls will route to the paired device's voicemail. You will not be able to set up voicemail when using Wi-Fi calling. Well, that's not going to work because the paired device is Lindsay's iPhone, and there won't be number sync between her phone and Forbes' watch. I did some more of the Googles, and I found the path. On the Apple Watch, you open the phone app and tap on voicemail. Now we're cooking with gas. We found it. We selected that option and added a button that said Set Up Now. It says to create a voicemail passcode of 4 to 15 digits. Cool. I typed in the 4 digits I knew he would know, but the next button was grayed out. Well, that was weird. I tried a 6-digit code I thought he'd remember. Nope, the next button was still grayed out. Finally, I experimented by typing 1 digit at a time and counting how many times I typed that digit until the next button was available. And it was 7 digits. Not 4 to 15, had to be 7 to 15. Why is everything about this so darn hard? Anyway, we started this process on Wednesday of our trip, and by Saturday, on our way to the airport where we tried to set up his voicemail, we hadn't yet succeeded. We decided to leave setting that up as an exercise for Lindsay and Nolan and Forbes. The bottom line is it's been great fun having Forbes call us at random times of the day from his watch, walkie-talking us, giggling like the silly little guy he is, and sending us text messages that simply say, hi. But I had no idea that Apple and AT&T would make this process so difficult. I do not know how normal people... I was on a roll. Almost made it to the end of the sentence. But I had no idea that Apple and AT&T would make this process so difficult. I do not know how normal people navigate this convoluted set of rules and methods to make it just go. Nope, we're going to do that again. But I got to say, I had no idea Apple and AT&T would make this process so difficult. I don't know how normal people navigate this convoluted set of rules and methods to make it go.
So right as you're finishing up, Lindsay says, "Oh shoot, sorry, we missed it." Texted back. So. Good timing.
Oh well. Well, he could can he subscribe to podcasts on his Apple Watch?
I don't see why not. There's a podcast app, right? And and that works on the watch, right?
Yeah.
And I assume he can get downloads directly on the watch.
Since he's got, yeah, because he can't sync it. He might be able to sync from his, actually, he could probably sync from his watch to his phone. I think because they're on the
but they're
same
not
Apple
paired.
ID. They're on the same Apple account, though.
I see.
And that's how things sync, right? Maybe? Maybe?
That's a good one. I don't think he is a big podcast listener, but
Well, but he
you
should be subscribed to my show.
I see.
Jeez.
Got to be subscribed to Mimir's show, otherwise.
Yeah. Love to picture him, sitting in class, listening with. Actually, can he set up headphones to sync to his Apple Watch?
That's a good question. Probably.
Anybody have a watch that they do this kind of stuff with?
Like where you don't carry your phone and you just use your watch as the device. I think they set it up to do that, so you wouldn't have to carry your phone. Yeah, Jill does it.
Right.
Great.
You do have, but you don't pay for cellular, do you, Jill?
Oh, she does.
You do?
So,
holy cow!
Jill, do the you probably sync your podcast from your phone onto your watch rather than download them directly to the phone.
Verizon charges $10 a month. How much in fees and taxes? Regulatory fees. Okay, Bruce says AirPods do, and I assume Bluetooth headphones would work. I don't know because it is stupid, she says. You don't want to know. I bet it's another $5 a month.
They're all probably very similar. I mean, if they're regulatory fees, they're not as much carrier dependent, I would think. They're more
God,
your
that's a pain,
locale.
though. I don't ever want to do that again. All right.
Ready to move on to the kitties?
My account was turned over to a business of my friends. Now his office manager won't let me see the account. That's kind of weird. Nope, the rest of the kids are never getting it. I'm getting them Android watches. Okay. Here we go. Oh, I have a bumper. I'm only going to get to play it once. Two years ago, I penned an article entitled, "Will the Pet Libro Smart Cat Feeder Keep My Cat from Overeating?" I'm back with a report and a big update. For the past 2 years, our two cats, Ada Lovelace and Grace Hopper, have been happily fed by our Pet Libro dual cat feeder. We travel a lot, and it gives us peace of mind knowing they're getting controlled portions in our absence, and they don't have to wait for the cat sitter to show up for a daily visit to be fed. The question of whether it would keep Ada from overeating has kind of a complicated answer. She did stop getting fatter every time we left the house, but she still ate out of Grace's bowl, so she managed to maintain her Rubenesque figure. That's actually what the vet called it. Anyway, it turns out the best way to get a cat to lose weight is to bring a new puppy into the house. We're not sure if it was stress or just having to run around a bit more to get out of Kepler's way, but both cats lost 2 pounds in the first 6 months that Kepler's been in our home. The way we discovered that, though, was quite unfortunate. Grace went through a bout where she was sleeping all day, not eating, hiding in weird places, just kind of lethargic. And she was doing that head movement cats do when they have a hairball they're trying to eject, but not coughing or anything. After having blood tests, an x-ray, and a sonogram, and 3 vet visits, and you can imagine how much that cost, they couldn't find a reason for this lethargy. We felt all along that it was some tall grasses she might have eaten in our backyard, and one day she did start coughing. She coughed a lot, and then right after that, she sprang back to her normal, energetic self. We were relieved and a smidge annoyed we'd spent all that money when the answer was kind of obvious. However, the blood test did reveal some important information. Grace's thyroid levels were way off. The good news is there's a pretty easy fix. A company called Hills makes a food diet designed to bring the thyroid levels back into balance in a matter of weeks by lowering iodine intake levels. It's called Hills Prescription Diet YD. I looked that up. The Y in the name stands for iodine, But it's not like some scientific abbreviation. It turns out they just picked the letter. So YD means iodine diet. Anyway, this isn't a show about medical or even cat stuff. It's a tech show. So let's get back to tech. I asked the vet if it was okay can I just feed this low iodine diet to both cats? And she said, no, that would harm Ada. And I whined to her. I said, how do I feed two cats two different diets? She suggested I buy cat feeders that use an RFID chip to open only for the correct cat. Now, come on, why didn't I think of the technical solution? Well, since we were happy with Pet Libro from a product standpoint, and we'd gotten good support from them in the past, and we were comfortable and happy with their software, I started looking at their RFID product offerings first. I did a smidge of research to find out if other companies were doing it better, but most sites I looked at ranked the Pet Libro solution at the top. The product we bought is called the One RFID Smart Feeder. That's a really weird name. The name of the feeder is One RFID Smart Feeder. You can buy one at a time, you can buy a bundle of two, or a bundle of three where you get a discount on buying more than one. I wondered why they offer an RFID single... Nope. I wondered why they offer an RFID feeder as a single unit, but then I realized this could eliminate the problem of, say, a dog eating the cat's food. For obvious reasons, I bought the bundle of two. The pair cost $270. That sounds like a lot of money, but when you compare it to the thousands in vet costs I just spent, it didn't sound that bad. Okay, it's still a lot, but keeping her alive for a long time is worth it to us. To keep each cat only able to eat out of their own feeder, the cats wear a collar with an attached RFID tag, and when they go to the correct feeder, it's supposed to open up and allow them to eat. When the wrong cat tries to steal food, the device won't open and will even close on them if the correct cat just walked away. And that was the theory. When we got the two RFID feeders, or to say it correctly, the two One RFID feeders, the packaging confused and then delighted me. Upon opening one feeder box, there were only 5 pieces. There was a cat collar with an RFID tag pendant on it, a small rectangular metal food bowl, a plastic tray that looked designed to hold the food bowl, a plastic mat, and a large chamber that clearly would hold the food to dispense it. Being of the persuasion that... Being of the persuasion that waits till desperation sets in to look for a manual, I began assembly. Pretty obvious to put the food bowl in the plastic tray. The plastic mat had a rectangular depression about the size of the plastic tray, and a connector sticking up that looked like it would mate with the tray. I was right, these 3 pieces fit together nicely. The assembly then connected in an obvious way to the food container. But at that point, I was baffled. Where were the rest of the parts? There must be more to this feeder. I flipped it over and I found a cover for 3 D-cell batteries to be inserted and a USB-C port all on the bottom. I wouldn't be needing the battery backup since we have a whole home battery system in case of power outages, but for most people, this is a very important feature. Worst thing ever, if you're out of town when the power goes out, you don't know it and your kitties don't get fed. But there still seem to be a lot of pieces missing, like where's the power supply? Where's the USB-C cable? Some way for the food bowl to be covered up when the correct cat isn't standing there looking for food. I opened the top of the feeder's large food chamber and I was delighted by the genius of those who designed the packaging. Instead of putting these devices in giant boxes with room for all of the parts, they packed the extra parts inside the food chamber. Genius, I tell you. There was stiff foam inside to keep the parts safe, but I could see the power supply, the very nice braided USB-C cable, the jointed plastic cover that would keep the greedy cat out of the wrong feeder, and the side guards that also keep the greedy cat from stealing food while the correct kitty is eating. One of the reasons we went with Pet Libro was the ease of setup with our original granary feeder from them, and the One RFID was just as easy to set up. The app explains to plug it in case you forgot that part, and then press a button on the front of the feeder for 3 seconds to start the network configuration. The device looks for nearby Bluetooth devices, does the handshake, and then makes the connection. Throughout this process, our Rubenesque cat Ada watched with anticipation. After we added the 2 devices to our network and named them after the 2 different cats, the instructions told us that our 2 One RFID feeders needed to be more than 10 inches, 25 centimeters, apart to prevent interference between the 2 devices. The next step was to pair the RFID collars with the separate feeders. You simply set an RFID collar onto the little front pad where the cats would stand, and then tap the Add Collar button in the app. As with our previous Pet Libro feeder, we were able to set up feeding times for each meal, name the meals, and set the food quantity. You can also set which days to have the meal repeat, which I thought was kind of odd. Would you give your cat lunch Monday through Friday, but not on weekends or not on Thursdays? You may remember the joy of our previous feeder when we learned that we could record audio to play when a meal was imminent. I recorded my voice giving a pig call. Every time the cat feeder would go off, it would say, "Sweet, pig, 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 pig." Steve even let me name the device Pig Slop. With the new feeders, Steve and I both wanted the experience of setting them up. That's what happens when nerds marry. So we each did one of those in our separate apps on our phones. That meant we had to negotiate what to record, since only the original owner of a given device had that privilege. Of course, I did the pig call for Ada's feeder because it continues to amuse me. Steve recorded, "Here, kitty, 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 kitty," for Grace's feeder. This kind of created a cacophony as both feeders went off at the same time. You'd hear this pig call and the kitty, kitty, kitty call at the same time. And we considered offsetting the time for the two by a minute.
I have to say something. Ada was sitting here in the chair, and when she heard you do the sweet pig, pig, she ran down.
Oh, did she?
She heard you through the door and thought it was the call.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, she's got an hour to wait for dinner. All right. We considered offsetting the time of the two devices by maybe a minute to reduce the effect, but Steve had a better idea. He's heard my voice doing the pig call so many times, he was able to actually replicate it on the second feeder. We really do entertain ourselves around here. Now, we were able to share the devices with each other, so we can control most of the settings for either one through our separate phones. I just had an epiphany on why you might schedule... I eventually had an epiphany on why you might not schedule a meal for every day. The breakfast call for our cats is at 8 a.m. What if you want to sleep in on weekends? You could create a brunch meal for Saturday and Sunday. Not very nice to the kitties who do get used to a set feeding schedule, but I'm just saying you could. I took a screenshot of the feeding schedule from the app and saw something I hadn't noticed originally. At the top, there's a global feeding schedule to turn it off, as well as toggles for each separate meal. Imagine you're going on vacation and your little darlings are going to summer camp. You wouldn't want that food bowl filling up and jamming the whole thing, and you definitely wouldn't want to have to recreate all those meals, so you can just shut the schedule off. Or maybe your baby is off to the vet overnight, you could just turn off the dinner feeding. After we got the settings straight, we poured Grace's special diet into her feeder and Ada's plain old Purina cat chow into hers. Each bowl is covered by a rectangular louvered door. The default condition is for it to lie flat, but when the RFID tag is over the little pad in front of it, the doors fold up and back to expose the food. If the correct kitty is standing on the pad, thereby opening the doors, the other kitty can't get into the food because of those plastic guards on either side of the bowl. On the front of the device, some non-tactile buttons allow you to override the normal behavior and manually feed the cats or just open the door. I mentioned them being non-tactile. I mentioned them being non-tactile because if you're visually impaired, it would be very hard to find the right one. The app still isn't accessible either, so I'm afraid these products are not the right devices for you. Now, the big question is whether this would work to feed the two cats two different diets. I can report that although Grace is still not at all fond of her new food, she seems to be resigned to her diet. Ada's not any happier. She eats all of her food and then she looks forlornly through the closed clear plastic doors at Grace's uneaten portions. Grace was trepidatious about standing on the pad at first. For a few days, we had to put cat treats on the pad and then a few in the bowl just to get her to walk onto that pad and try to eat. Eventually, she learned to straddle it with her two front paws so she didn't have to touch the pad, and that would hang the RFID tag in the right place to open the doors. She's finally gotten comfortable with standing on the pad in the month or so we've had the feeder, and notably, food-motivated Ada had zero problems figuring out how to get fed. Now, early on, we caught Grace in the act of trying to eat over Ada's head to get to the food bowl, But those plastic guards did their job. We've also learned through this experience how much the cats eat. The Pet Libro app gives you logs that identify the cat and tell you how long they ate. It's been no surprise to find out that Ada eats a lot and eats often, and that Grace eats much less often. We suspected that based on the size of the two cats and how often we saw Ada chowing down, but now we have measured data. As of the day I wrote this article up, Grace ate 4 times for a total of 8 minutes, while Ada ate 9 times for a total of 16 minutes. It's a pretty crazy difference for 2 cats who are sisters. Now, we actually had to cut back how much we were dispensing to Grace's feeder because it was kind of backing up in the bowl. We now feed Ada 3 times a day, but Grace only twice a day. Both cats seem healthy and are equally active. I'll be able to share this data with our vet when we take her in for a checkup. The bottom line is that we're very pleased with the Pet Libro 1 RFID automated feeders because they're helping Grace maintain a healthy life and they're limiting how much Ada can eat. This will make the vet happy and help them both live longer. The cats were not at all pleased with wearing collars for the first times in their lives, but I think they both look quite elegant in their little pendants. Ta-da!
Yeah, seems like a good solution.
Yeah, I hope Grace is healthy. I think we need
She sure seems that way. She doesn't seem to have lost weight beyond what she had, and she seems more active again.
Yeah, I think we need to weigh her again, though.
Yeah, we probably should.
See if she's lost even more weight. Because we didn't catch that that she was dehydrated either.
Yeah. You know, you haven't talked about their new water feeder.
Yeah, that's going to be next week.
Okay.
They gave us a free water feeder that actually is pretty cool.
And it works for Tesla as well. Kepler.
Yep.
I do that all the time.
Yep. I called him. I call him Parker all the time, which is one of our grandson's names. I call him.
At
Forbes
least I'm in the
too.
right species.
All right, here we go. Whenever we get a new Patreon supporter, I like to celebrate them on the show. But then there are the unsung heroes, those people who quietly continue to support the show through Patreon. These folks are the lifeblood of making it affordable for me to create the content of the NosillaCast, Chit Chat Across the Pond, and Programming by Stealth. Let's see if I can call out the names of the folks who've been contributing since 2016, 9 years, faster than you can hit your skip forward 30-second button. We've got Mark, Brett, Richard, Dorothy, Kevin, Bob, RW, Christopher, Tom, Barry, Jamie, Doug, Desmond, Steve, Trevor, and Yope. Thank you, all of you, for your continued support. How was that, Steve?
Good. Now, that Steve, what I assume, is not me.
No. I didn't do any first names. I don't actually remember who it is.
Last names.
Yeah. Yeah, right. That's what I said. Okay.
And you're sticking to it.
Yep. Copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. And done. And now security bits. All right, and let's paste in some security bits. I banged my microphone, so I have an edited version of me. You probably want to hear a plink, don't you? Here you go, Steve. Listen. Blink. Did you hear it? Nope. He's not talking. Does he know I'm talking to him? I'm talking to you. Maybe he left. Probably went to go check on Ada.
I gave you the thumbs up, but I get you weren't watching.
Yeah, I don't watch you while I'm doing this. You're way over here. In fact, you're covered up with a bunch of windows. More plink. No, I tried that plink to solve another problem for me, and it didn't work, so... For what I wanted it for, anyway. I still have plenty. All right, let's see how this sounds up. Well, it's that time of the week again. It's time for Security Bits with Bart Busschots. Lovely to see you today. That was not enough pause for Steve. Well, it's that time of the week again. It's time for Security Bits with Bart Busschots. Lovely to see you today, Bart.
And always lovely to see and talk to you, even though we were just talking yesterday, but that was with a very different hat on today.
That's right. That's right. My audience doesn't know about that yet, so we'll keep that under wraps. Shh.
Yes. Right. Cybersecurity. Let us do a little bit of follow-up on probably the most consequential story we talked about 2 weeks ago was the T app, which is an app it's supposed to be to help women date safely, which is obviously stupendously important. And in terms of the goals of an app, it's very hard not to get more behind T than is possible. The problem is they failed miserably at actually protecting their users. And much to my surprise, they're still growing. People are signing up.
No.
So if anyone in your family or friends is doing something nuts like not running away, let alone running towards them, they dedicated the entire most recent episode of the Kill Switch podcast to explaining what happened, why it's a problem, and why you really, 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 really don't want to join that website. So it's really well explained. So I figure maybe rather than you try to tell them, send them a link to someone else trying to tell them.
Yeesh.
Yes. Now, action alerty time. Things to do. It has been Patch Tuesday. So patchy, patch. The absolute worst vulnerabilities are for the sysadmins who are at the cutting edge. Windows Server 2025, which is very new. But there are some fairly serious, Microsoft rate them as critical. They just don't happen to be exploited in the wild yet, but they're still critical bugs. So regular folks should patch all the same. And so...
You know, I'm actually going to cut us off here. I'm going to finish the show. If that's okay with everybody?
Letting them out early.
Yep. I like it.
Stay patched, so you stay secure.
There we go. Bart's audio icon. We'll allow it.
Stay patched, so you stay secure.
I could go just a teeny bit sooner.
Patched, so you stay secure.
Yeah, here in California, what they did was they just gave us a big, we've got green trash for our lawn clippings and all that. And they said, throw it in there. And you can even put it in a clear plastic bag when you throw it in. So it's super easy to compost. We don't do it at our house. They do it for us. So yeah, California taking care of things. All right. Well, that's going to wind us up for this week. Did you know you can email me at allison@podfeed.com anytime you like? I haven't gotten a dumb question in a really long time. You should send those on over. Remember, everything good starts with podfeed.com. You can follow me on Mastodon at podfeed.com/Mastodon. If you want to listen to the podcast on YouTube, go to podfeed.com/YouTube. If you want to join the conversation, you can join our Slack community at podfeed.com/Slack. And in there, you can talk to me and all of the other lovely NosillaCastaways. You can support the show like the heroes from 2016 and by going to podfeed.com/Patreon. Or if you'd rather do a one-time donation, podfeed.com/donate or podfeed.com/PayPal. And if you want to join in the fun of the live show, like all of the lovely NosillaCastaways that joined me this week, head on over to podfeed.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic NosillaCastaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed.
Hey, do we have a date yet for the Apple event?
You put one in the calendar.
Well, that was that was a guess based on rumors. I think September 9th.
Yeah. As soon as we know one for real.
Yeah, but that's not official. I was wondering if... So I would think they would be announcing it here
pretty soon.
By next week at the latest.
Yeah.
Right. And I assume we're going to have
3 weeks.
Usually it's two.
I don't know.
I assume
know.
we're going to have a little chat where everyone can get together.
Absolutely.
All right.
September 9th is Grandparents' Day.
Ooh.
Good to know. I have to ask the kids what they're doing to celebrate that. Let me listen to the end of this. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. We should have parties in our honor. I only count 4 chapters, Steve.
Oh, I'm remiss.
We're supposed to be checking to
Remiss?
remind me to unmute.
I'm
Chapter
remiss, is
marks?
that? Yeah, I count 4 as well.
We actually got to the, there are 4 lights. All right, we're going to export that to here. NosillaCast audio. Do that. Has anybody here ever used Power Photos? Because I'm doing it for my my next Screencast Online video. It's really powerful.
More than photos?
Yeah, well, it's a good adjunct to photos, but it does a lot of things photos can't do. You can create new libraries. You can split libraries. So, like if you've got, let's say you're getting to too much storage in your iCloud, and you don't want to pay for more, you can have split a library. Like you could say do it by year, that kind of thing. The duplicate stuff is really, really powerful. You've got so much control over it. Where with Apple Photos, it does duplicates, but it just says, "Don't worry your pretty little head about it. Got this." You're like, okay, what are you doing to decide? What if I have a raw photo and a JPEG of the same image? I don't want it getting rid of half of those, but you don't know what it's going to do. What if you've got a photo and it's in 3 different albums? What does it do? How does it decide to make those decisions? And this app really does a good job of letting you have granular control and telling you what it's doing and letting you review it. It's really cool. I'm very impressed. But boy, it's been hard to teach because it's so powerful. Like, how much do I include in the video? That's actually been the biggest problem. So
Excellent.
Anyway, well,
we lost Jill.
We lost Jill.
She has to put her bird to bed.
Well, now we have to wait till she comes back. What if we're all gone when she comes back? All right. That would be mean. Okay, what are we going to talk about from now to then? Let's see. So have you finished editing the post on the web?
Yes.
And saved it?
I saved it, so let me get out of
Okay.
it so you can have it back.
Yeah. Let me refresh locally here. Okay. How long does bird time take?
That's a good
That's a
question.
good point. Do, 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 do. Nobody wants you to sing,
How many
Mom.
stories? How many birds does she have?
1,
Oh, okay.
I think. Well, what do you want to talk about, Steve?
Let's see. I don't have too much to talk about here.
This is so stupid. We're all just going to sit here and wait for
We
Jill.
don't have to wait for
Feed her
Jill.
birds. I know, but it'd be mean.
What if she comes back and doesn't realize that she needs to let us know she's back?
I'm texting her.
Okay.
Mama Bird book. Oh. Yeah, I forgot they would need bedtime stories. That's a good point. I wonder if she sings to them. Might lurk just to make us mad. That'd be nice.
So you're having a show next week, right?
Yep. Yep.
All right.
I don't see. We have no travel plans between now and November.
Yeah, I have a feeling there will be a trip or two coming up. At least
Yeah.
one.
We could go to Texas, honey.
We're going
Just-
to Texas.
Yeah, but we're not going to Texas till November. The kids, Teddy will be like 20% older by then.
He'll be driving.
Well, he will be. The rate he's growing up. He's the littlest one, and he's changes rapidly. Well, I can't think of anything else interesting to say.
Yeah, I think we should call it. So if anyone's still in the chat room after we depart, maybe just let Jill know we waited for a while. Oh, Jill,
good,
we're
she's back. Shoot, we made it.
That was close.
You need to go back and watch the video, Jill, because we've been just sitting here vamping, waiting for you to come back, trying to figure out.
Wondering if you were coming back.
We thought it'd be really mean to leave while you were gone.
Glad you're back,
All right.
Jill. Now we can say goodbye.
All right. Goodbye, everybody. Have a good week. See you next week.